Hello again, everyone. I am Mephisto9466. This video is an air-to-ground tutorial in Sim. I will be using the F-16C, the F-4E, F-16A, and the B-17 to demonstrate the different techniques in regards to bombing, ranging from dive bombing to using CCRP, CCIP, and using air-to-ground missiles. This will not be going over torpedo bombing. I will also be using VR and my personal flight stick for this. VR and a flight stick is not required at all to do what I am doing. It is just easier for me. Before continuing with this video, I highly recommend that you watch my mouse joystick tutorial if you have never flown in Sim before. Please go to the description to find the video link. These keybinds are general keybinds that you want when trying to bomb in Sim. Each section will go over additional keybinds for those specific techniques if required. The first keybind that you need is the Fire Secondary Weapons button. This will allow you to use all manner of secondary weapons without needing to bind additional buttons. The next keybind that you need is the Switch Secondary Weapons button. This will let you switch between what secondary weapons you want to use. The next one that you want is the Exit Selected Weapon mode. The reason you want this is just in case you run into some weird issue when you are trying to swap secondary weapons. This will kick you out of that mode and you will go back to normal. The next one that you want is Secondary Weapon Ripple Quantity. This will allow you to select how many bombs you want to drop at any given time on the fly. It goes up in twos and it will switch to S at a certain point. When you see S, the bombs will drop in a carpet bomb fashion. The next bind that you want is the Activate Target Point button. This will let you select a point on the ground to bomb. This isn't as useful as of this current update due to a change with the map, but it does allow versatility when needed. The next one you need is Deactivate Target Point. This one should be pretty self-explanatory. It lets you turn off the target point that you set. This is needed for when you're about to get into a fight after you've already set the point that you want to bomb in the map. Sometimes you won't be able to drop your bombs before you start fighting due to having a target point selected. So what you need to do is that you need to deactivate the target point, drop your bombs, and then get to fighting. The next one you may want is the Switch Mission Bombing Target. This button isn't used as much anymore since the update to the map, but it is a nice to have keybind just in case. Now, in the settings, you may see options for dropping bombs, dropping bomb series, and a few other ones. These are not required. You may use and customize your setup as you wish. What I have shown you is what I personally use, and I find generally the easiest to use when you don't have a whole lot of buttons set up. There are some settings and the options you may want to look out for. The first one is autopilot for gunner and bomb sight modes. I have mine set to no, but you may want to turn that on so when you're in something like a B-17, it'll autopilot it for you while you man the guns, and it'll also keep it level for you when you're lining up the bomb sights. I'll get into bombing in that B-17 a little later on. The next one you want to look at is the activation of automatic bomb release in CCRP mode at mission start. This option I have turned on because what it does is that it lets me just hold the secondary fire button and just simply wait for my plane to get in range, and it will drop the bombs on its own. You will see this in the test flight. You may already know what this is. It is the classic Stuka dive bomber move. You simply fly towards your target, get above them, dive down toward them at a steep angle, drop your bombs, and then leave. I'll go over the steps right quick for you. Step 1, use your secondary weapon button. Use the select secondary weapon button to select your bombs that you want to use. Step 2, position yourself over your target. Once you're step 3, once you are over your target, dive toward it. Step 4, once you're confident that you've aimed well, click the fire secondary weapon button to drop your bombs. And then step 5, pull out of the dive so you and the grass do not become best friends. I'll go over both here. They are extremely similar, and there's just really one difference between them, and that's it. Here I'll be using the B-17 for this demonstration. There is another type of level bombing, but I'll go over that in the next section. There are a couple of required keybinds for you to bind. The first one is open bomb bay door. Now this is highly dependent on the type of plane that you're using. Not every plane is going to have a bomb bay door, but some do, like this B-17, so you will need this bound. The next one that you want is bomber view. Bomber view will put you in the bomb site, so that way you can aim the bombs correctly and drop them on your proper target. And once that is out of the way, let's go into the steps. Step 1, once you're at your desired altitude, use your map to orient yourself toward the base that you want to destroy. We will pick this one right here that we want to destroy. Step 2, use your secondary weapon button, use your select secondary weapon button to select your bombs. Step 3, set the ripple quantity to however many bombs you want to drop, or as close as you can get to it. Step 4, open your bomb bay door. And again, this is highly dependent on the plane that you select. Step 5, switch to bomber view. Normally you would want to switch to your bomber view once you're a bit closer to your target. Step 6, try to visually spot the base that you want to destroy. Right now I've spotted it, and now I just need to line up the crosshair so that way we can destroy it. Like step 7, once the crosshairs are pretty much on your target, you just drop your bombs by using the fire secondary weapon button, like so. Now step 8, leave the area ASAP before you become very acquainted with a 30mm cannon round. CCIP, CCRP bombing has some nuances between different aircraft, but the actions taken are pretty much the same. Select the bombing target, switch to your bombs, switch the bomb sight to auto if it didn't automatically do it, fly toward the target, and hold the secondary fire button until the bombs drop. That is pretty much it. You can use this while climbing to do toss bombing. Now just an optional keybind for you, like when using CCRP, CCIP, like in using your bombing computer. You want switch sight mode in cockpit. This allows you to switch between ground gun sights, normal gun sights, rocket gun sights if you have rockets equipped, bomb sights, and bomb sights auto if you have a bombing point active. I'd advise having this bound to something just in case you switch to your bombs with a bombing point active and it does not say bomb sight auto. Now step 1, open your map and click the red square at the bottom right corner of the map, and then click the base that you want to destroy. Step 2, fly toward the base that you want to destroy. Step 3, switch to the bombs that you want to drop. Now in this case, it should be anything unguided. We'll get into guided bombs a bit later. Now step 4, depending on the aircraft, line up with this line. Depending on the aircraft, line up with this line, and then just hold the fire secondary weapons button until the bombs drop. Just a side note, all bombs have a maximum drop speed limit. In the F-16, you cannot drop napalms at higher than Mach 1. It will not let you. Now, some aircraft do not have this line, like the F-4E Phantom. I'll show that to you in a moment. But as you can see, I've dropped the napalm. And what should be happening is that they should be flying straight toward that base. As you can see, it is a direct hit. Now I'm going to hop into the F4E Phantom to show you exactly what I was talking about. Now as you can see, it doesn't have that line, but it does have that very thick yellow bar that's going around the cockpit side. You see, as I get closer, that yellow bar went around that gun sight, and once it gets to the end, the bombs will drop. Here I'll go over the guided munitions. Using them is a good bit different, and there will be 4 types of munitions I'm going to go over: GNSS guided bombs, TV guided bombs, laser guided bombs, and air-to-ground missiles. At least in the American tree, GNSS guided bombs do not require a lock. TV guided bombs do. Now, just a few keybinds for you to use when you are using guided bombs. The first one is drop guided bombs. This keybind is highly dependent on your personal setup. I have mine bound because I have the secondary weapon button on my flight stick, and I wanted to do everything with guided bombs from my mouse. The next one you need is lock guided bombs. You need this for certain types of bombs like TV guided bombs. The next one you need is weapon, lock, air to ground. This should be self-explanatory. You use this to lock a ground target for your air to ground missiles. The next one you need is targeting optics view. There are some guided bombs that require a targeting pod. This allows you to switch to the targeting pod view. That targeting pod is also extremely nice for bombs that don't really require it to be used, but if you want to hit a specific target like a tank. You do also need this for laser guided bombs as well. The next one you need is toggle laser designator. You need this specifically for laser guided bombs and missiles. The next one you want is switch NVD mode. Trust me, this is going to help you a lot with seeing the targets much easier. The next one you need is fire air to ground missile. This is self-explanatory. The last one you need is optical seeker view. This is specifically for TV guided bombs and missiles. I do not have mine bound because I use the toggle view button, and it just puts me into that view when I have them selected. Now, I'm going to break these down into different sections so it is easier for you to navigate in the video. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty with all of these. I am just going to show you how to use the different ones in the game. Now, the first one will be GNSS bombs. I will be using a JDAM for this. Step 1, open your map and click the red square at the bottom right, and then click the area that you want to attack with your bomb. This will put your targeting pod's camera on that area so it'll be easier for you to find your target. Step 2, switch to the bomb that you want to use and turn the plane to the target that you want to hit. Step 3, once you think that you're close enough, use the targeting optics view button to put yourself in the targeting pod. Click switch NVD mode to turn on thermal sights. Use your mouse to move the targeting pod. Step 4, put the crosshair on the target and click either fire secondary weapon button or drop guided bomb, depending on whichever option you want to use. Now step 5, run away before you find an angry telephone pole flying at your cockpit at Mach Jesus. Now for this example, I am using a Paveway 3. Step 1, open your map and click the red square at the bottom right, and then click the area that you want to destroy. This will put your targeting pod's camera on that area, so it'll be easier for you to find your target. Step 2, switch to the bomb that you want to use, and turn the plane toward the target that you want to hit. Now, once you think that you're close enough, use the targeting optics view button to put yourself in the targeting pod. Click the NVD mode button to turn on your thermal sights. Use your mouse to move the targeting pod. If it is not on already, turn on your laser designator. Step 5, put the crosshair on the target and click either the fire secondary weapons button or drop guided bomb, depending on whichever option you want to use. This bomb will follow the laser. You must keep the laser on target the entire time until the warhead hits that forehead. Here I will be using the ATGM 65D on the F-16C. Step 1, open your map and click the red square at the bottom right corner of the map, and then click the area that you want to attack with your bomb or missile. This will put the targeting pod camera on that area, so it'll be easier for you to find your target. Step 2, switch to the air-to-ground missile that you want to use, and then turn the plane toward the target you want to hit. Once you think you're close enough, use the Targeting Optics View button to put yourself in the targeting pod. Click the Switch NVD Mode button to turn on thermal sights. Use your mouse to move the targeting pod. Step 4. Put the crosshair on the target and then use the Weapon Lock Air to Ground button. When you see the green square on the target, click the Fire Air to Ground missile. Now step 5, scurry along like the rat you are. Here I will be using the GBU-8 on the F-16A. It is going to be the exact same action with TV guided missiles. Step 1, open your map and click the red square at the bottom right corner of the map, and then click the area that you want to attack with your bomb or missile. This will put your TV guided bombs or missiles camera on that area, so it'll be easier for you to find your target. Step 2, switch to the TV missile or bomb that you want to use, and then turn the plane toward the area that you want to attack. Step 3, use the Optical Seeker View button to switch the camera view to the missiles or the bombs. Make sure you actually point the nose of the plane at the target, so that way the camera on the missiles or the bombs can actually see. Step 4, use the Lock Guided Bomb or Lock Air to Ground Missile button to lock your target, and then use the Drop Guided Bomb or Fire Secondary Weapon or Fire Air to Ground button or Fire Air to Ground Missile button, depending on what weapon you have. Step 5, run away before you start hearing angry missile sounds. Now, with this knowledge, you should be an expert at putting warheads on foreheads. Make sure to practice in test flight before you go into a sim game to do this. Good luck, pilots.